ChatGPT. Relate ACIM to the movie Elvis and Nixon. Elvis and Nixon through the lens of A Course in Miracles, ACIM, OKM. Elvis and Nixon is based on the famous real-life meeting between Elvis Presley and Richard Nixon. On the surface, it is an amusing and unlikely encounter between two of the most recognizable figures of their era. Through the lens of A Course in Miracles, however, it becomes a fascinating study of identity, image, specialness, and the longing to be seen beyond the roles we play. At its heart, the film asks, who are you when the costume comes off? This is one of ACM's central questions, the burden of roles. Throughout the movie, both Elvis and Nixon are trapped inside enormous public identities. One is a cultural icon. One is a political leader. The world sees symbols, titles, images, personas. Yet beneath those identities are human beings struggling with the same fears, doubts, desires, and insecurities as everyone else. ACM teaches that the ego is a role maker. It builds identities and then convinces us that the role is who we are. The movie continually hints that neither Elvis nor Nixon is fully represented by the image the world sees. Specialness. Elvis and Nixon occupy positions of extraordinary specialness. The world admires them, criticizes them, projects onto them, fears them, celebrates them. The ego loves specialness because specialness appears to create value. ACM teaches that specialness is the ego's substitute for God's love. The ego says, I matter because I am different. I matter because I am important. I matter because I stand above others. The movie quietly reveals the loneliness that often accompanies specialness. Image management. Both men spend much of their lives managing perception, public expectations, public appearances, public reactions. The ego constantly worries about image, how others see us, how we are judged, how we are remembered. ACM teaches that peace is impossible while identity depends upon image management. The movie repeatedly shows how exhausting it can be to maintain a public persona. Recognition. One of the most interesting aspects of the meeting is that each man seems to recognize something in the other. Beyond politics, beyond celebrity, beyond reputation, there are moments where two human beings simply meet. ACIM teaches that healing occurs when we look beyond roles and recognize shared interests. The ego sees differences. The Holy Spirit sees sameness. The movie offers glimpses of that deeper recognition. The search for meaning. Despite fame, wealth, and influence, neither character appears entirely fulfilled. This reflects a central ACM theme. The ego promises happiness through achievement, success, recognition, power, yet fulfillment remains elusive. The movie subtly explores the question, if I have everything the world values, why am I still searching? ACIM answers that nothing in the world can replace the remembrance of our true identity. The masks we wear. The meeting itself becomes symbolic. Two masks sitting across from one another, the king of rock and roll, the president of the United States. Yet behind the masks are simply minds seeking understanding. ACIM teaches that awakening begins when we become willing to look beyond appearances. The movie repeatedly invites viewers to see beyond the public narratives. The holy relationship. While brief and unconventional, the encounter becomes a form of joining. Not because the two men become close friends, but because they momentarily meet outside the usual categories. ACIM teaches that every relationship can serve awakening when its purpose shifts from judgment to understanding. The meeting becomes more meaningful than either man expected. The humor of the ego. One reason the movie works so well is its humor. The situation itself is absurd. ACIM often encourages us to recognize the absurdity of the ego. The ego takes itself incredibly seriously. The movie gently exposes the strange theater of fame, power, and identity. Humor becomes a doorway to humility. The central reflection. The ego watches Elvis and Nixon and asks, who is more important? Who has more influence? Who has the greater legacy? The Holy Spirit watches Elvis and Nixon and asks, who are these people beneath the roles? Viewed through ACM, the movie becomes a meditation on identity and the limits of worldly success. Elvis and Nixon symbolize two forms of specialness that the world celebrates. Yet the film repeatedly points beyond fame and power toward the universal human longing to be known and understood. The deepest message may be, the world sees celebrities, leaders, and legends. The Holy Spirit sees brothers. Beneath every role, title, accomplishment, and reputation remains the same innocent self. Peace arrives when we stop trying to become somebody and remember what we already are. Go to mwge.org to find full movie and commentary by David Hoffmeister.